Well, 50,000, no less. Wait, 20,000? Yeah, we could do 20. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Xerath Prevails. We've got a new kit here, folks. Boushh, which is okay. It's all thermal detonator based. We've got new type of Omicron, which is a little bit weird and scary and disturbing. And CG does wordplay. It's fascinating. Let's go talk about it, folks. Boushh! I love that she does thermal detonator things, and that her name sounds like a thermal detonator exploding, at least like a little kid's imitation of that. Now we've got Leia Organa here, and it's interesting. She doesn't really feel like Leia. It's very interesting that the synergy here is just a bunch of bounty hunters. I feel like they don't know that kit very well, because I'm not saying that I understand it the best, but these bounty hunters are I mean, like Greedo, Greedo, I guess, does some thermals. Cad, I think, has some glimmer of thermals, but I also feel like she does a lot better with smugglers, like light side smugglers. Like she's gonna go really well with Dash and his current Datacron, if you guys want to wail on her, which I don't know if you need to. Today's kit reveal is, I thought that initially it said expensive, and I was like, wow, CG is being truthful. That is amazing, but they weren't. I mean, it's explosive, they do wordplay, but I thought that was fun. Deadly Bluff. There are so many weird working parts here, guys. This kit is intended to go with Jabba. That's very clear, and I think that that's the most interesting part, as we get to see some of these things that are going on. One thing I do want to mention here real quick, guys, is people expressing disappointment that this isn't Slave Leia, and honestly, I get that. I am attracted to Slave Leia myself, as I'm a card-carrying nerd who, thinks it's pretty whatever. But there was just never any chance that was going to happen. Not with the current policies that Disney has in place. And honestly, I think that there's some weird thing going on in the background with Leia that makes it very difficult to add her to the game. Note, I don't know if they were just being silly here, but look at the top here where it says Boushh TM Leia Organa TM. I wonder if there's some kind of thing. Like, they don't do that with other kit reveals. Here, I think we have one for Chrysanthemum I have up here. I have that ready to go for later. Yeah, like, not that that's just like proves anything, guys, but we're gonna actually look at his kit in just a minute for one thing. But yeah, turn meter TM. You think that there's something going on with it. Like, Leia's tough to add to the game, or they probably would have added more of her. As it is, we still don't have her likeness, really. We just have what she looks like as wearing Boushh armor. Which, don't worry, I don't think she's Boushh. However, you have. This is really interesting. So they even acknowledge that she gives bonuses to light side smugglers like Han Solo and Skiff Guard Lando and stuff. Let's see, strategy tips. There's all kinds of fun strategy tips, mostly involving things that are kind of strategy. This makes me laugh. Boush's leader of reward prevents enemies from reviving. Useful for taking down Night Sisters and other squads that rely on the mechanic. I mean, it's okay, but I mean, thank you for that insight. Night Sisters revive? Wait, what? Thank you for that. Okay. So, I think one thing that is easy to miss, potentially, is while you're dreaming of thermals, Boush's thermal detonators can be resisted, and so, like, she wants to have potency, except your opponent has tenacity up on a lot of different kits. That's something. 50,000, no less. It's not in the game, guys. Whoa, it's not in the game. She does. Ambidextrous Assault is in the game, though, and it applies thermal detonators. Look at that. Can't be evaded, but it can be resisted. And So the thing that's confusing about this kit a little bit is if the ally in the leader slot is a smuggler, it attacks again. Like, I almost think, like, this is really good with Dash, who Dash on the basic calls other characters to assist. I forget if it calls scoundrels or smugglers or what, but if it just calls scoundrels, then he's going to be calling her to assist, and if he's the lead, then she's going to be applying 2 thermals every time instead of just 1, which is interesting. I mean, then she only has 2 specials. The other one is blow up all the thermals. Now, one thing that people don't realize is that every thermal, not all thermals are built equally. Some of them do different percentage of damage, actually. Like, so some of them do more damage than others, whereas some of them only do 5% total health damage. I think that there's some that do 15 to 20% health damage. So it's very worthwhile to, I don't know, just think about it, but not look it up, which is what I've done. So that's useful. I realize unique one, fearless. Boushh is immune to fear. Hey, look at that. That is great. Yeah, so it does all this stuff. This is a confusing kit, and really, guys, I'm not going to read it to you. You guys can read the kit yourselves. But there's this deadly bluff, which is a blue ability, as far as I understand, that goes on your opponent, and My Kind of Scum, which is a blue buff thing that goes on yourself, and this blue buff, so at the start of battle they gain My Kind of Scum. Great. I don't know if there's another way to get My Kind of Scum, or if she just gets a random, like, extra health and defense. I'm not sure. Does she, like, keep gaining My Kind of Scum? Fearless and inventive. However, yeah, so here's the thing that's really interesting to me, guys. Like, she's clearly intended to go on a Jabba team. So it's going to be Jabba with Skiff Lando and Chrysanthemum and her, and then someone else, probably like Bib Fortuna or someone. Or maybe Jabba takes 2 slots. Who knows? Because he's so ridiculous. He's kind of Boushh, if you know what I mean. If all allies were Hutt Cartel at the start of battle, enemies with Deadly Bluff, which is the blue debuff thing, can't attack out of turn, and so that, I mean, that's going to counter a lot of people. And if they have both Deadly Bluff and a thermal detonator, they lose 25 speed. Now, one thing that I am curious about, so if they have a thermal detonator, they lose 25 speed along with Deadly Bluff. You can get the thermals out fairly quickly. And then, yeah, there's all these other weird things. But here's the thing that is probably worth noting, guys. So, with her payout, inflict 3 thermal detonators for 2 turns on all enemies. Ambidextrous Assault and Inventive, blah, blah, blah. But the big thing here, in my opinion, is inflict 3 thermal detonators for 2 turns on all enemies. Now, this can be resisted. However, what if Jabba's kit lets you have an immediate payout for all bounty hunters that he's with? That would also give, and this is why we brought Chrysanthemum in, Chrysanthemum also would get his. He would immediately have more, like, he'd have crit avoidance to the end of battle, and he would taunt for 2 turns and recover all, like, the recovering health and protection wouldn't do anything, but he would auto-taunt as well. He would pre-taunt with Jabba if he immediately got his payout. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but you have to think that with Jabba lead, he's going to have a way for you to get the contract fairly easily. Now, other things to note here, folks, and I even made notes. Let's see. I wonder if, so he's got all this stuff, she's got all this stuff going on, and first off, we have this new Omicron, guys. You know, Boushh, OGBYN cloak, which is the Omicron, apparently. So, yeah. Raid. I think we're getting a raid. This is a big old hint. I think we're getting a new raid. I think we are, because why create this? Or maybe they just wanted to cop out. They're like, you know what? We're gonna do like they wanted to put a new Omicron on all the new characters, and of course they just mailed it in with the Inquisitors. And they just said, like, okay, who cares? Who cares? We're going to put bad Omicrons on just for the sake of putting an Omicron on. It's either that because, or, I mean, this could help new guilds. However, it's going to go with Jabba, which new guilds are not going to have a lot of Jabbas because of the requirements. And you see, it makes me think that this is going to be like, hey, we're going to force everyone in top guilds to get this Omicron. And hey, we have a $100 pack to get an Omicron right now if you want it. So there is that. I think we're going to get a new raid, and I think he's also going to be good in territory battles. I'm wondering if he's going to be the first Galactic Legend who isn't good at PvP, or at least not necessarily wonderful at it. I wonder if he's going to be like 100 speed or something like that, because he's huge and he has other people doing things for him. I wonder if that's what's going to happen. Like, he's just going to be the first slow GL, and he's not going to be good in PvP, but he's going to be the amazing, awesome character in PvE somehow, despite having a mixed dark side and light side squad. I'm just not sure. And I don't know how he's going to work in 3v3 either. However, it is kind of looking like he's going to be the king of PvE at the very least, because his squad is going to be doing raids, it's going to be doing territory battles, etc. Now, if you don't have Jabba, this is a pretty interesting thing, guys. Boushh and light side smuggler allies, so that's Dash specifically. I mean, I know that all the Hans and stuff are and everything, but I'm just thinking in terms of the new Datacron with Dash. They gain 5% armor pen, 15% offense, 10% potency, 10 speed. And this is just her unique, so it's like a mini leadership on her own. And that goes so well with the current Dash, who's going to be doing so much FU damage anyways. And doing the potency, he gets a little extra speed. In 5v5, it's going to make him even faster than he was previously. Not that that's going to do much, I guess, with the new Datacron, because he's going to go all the time, every time, with all his bonus turns. However, it does look pretty interesting. Let's see. If the leader slot is Hut Cartel, Boushh and Lightside Smuggler allies are immune to ability block and stun, which also impacts Scando, who is a smuggler, Lightside Smuggler. There's all this little interchange here, guys. There's going to be a lot of control with Jabba. I think that Jabba's just basically he's going to be similar to Lord Vader in the sense that like the debuffs that he causes and the control that he has is going to be what happens to the other team. Like, it's not necessarily going to be a ton of overt offense the way Jedi Master Luke is, which is ironic because he doesn't really actually, his character never does actual damage in the movies, but you know, he's the guy who's just a blunt instrument, you know. I think Jabba's going to be a little more insidious, a little more like slowly strangle you to death sort of thing. All right, let me look at the rest of my notes here, make sure I didn't miss anything. So yeah, so I guess the final thing here, guys. So thermals are everywhere. The percent health is, it's still a thing, so it's not going to affect other Galactic Legends, not going to affect other things. I do think that the added utility of once those thermals are added to characters, then they can't like gain turn meter and stuff like that is interesting. The leader is interesting because you have to kill someone with thermals, but in which case the fight is usually just over by then. You have to think that they're just biding their time. They don't want all the bounty hunters to have a viable leadership, just like Chrysanthemums is pretty ridiculous and easy to, or hard to get as well. They don't want these bounty hunters. They're like, well, all the bounty hunters have to have leaderships, but because that's our thing, but they're not going to be useful, just like all characters have to have Omicrons. Not all of them are going to actually be good, just like Inquisitors have it. In which case I'm like, can you just stop doing that sometimes? I don't know. And then finally, I wonder if we're gonna just get a team with like Jabba and her and like 3 Jawas, and you just like you just sit there and take a bunch of hits, and then you blow your enemy up. I don't know, lots of interesting stuff to talk about or think about. I'm gonna let you guys go though. Let me know what you think of this kit, and yeah, I'll see you on the other side. Thank you all so much for watching, and remember that in all things, Xaereth prevails.